Just livening it up, making it a little busier everywhere. Just kind of more cool stuff.
It's got a lot more.
Floor.
Open and full of positivity.
Some nice, yeah. There's the awesome flower. Shakate.
Awesomeness.
Shakate is another flower of awesomeness, helping out. That's the center dot. At the center, it's gold for compassion, the complexion of the goddess, whose embodiment is compassion. So I was just saying that if you have the human form, it's like a fire, a smoke-smothered fire. You have the fire, the core down there. But it's covered with wet moss and all kinds of slough. But if you adjust things just right and fan the spark, and you keep fanning it, you have to adjust it just right. That's what the religious process is about: meditation, yoga, all these things, and then you can actually perceive the great soul ablaze in the human form. Stage, I mean, there's very few people that actually get to that super awakened state, like Jesus and Buddha, and then there are pure souls who have very pure intentions, and they do a lot of amazing things, like Mother Teresa. And I mean, the higher you get, so-called spiritually, the humbler you get, because God is the most humble. Serves us by creating this whole material world, this whole creation, where the child can run away from home. Like I said, we ran away from home. We came here, and we had to go through all these material births. Human life is for self-realization, and human society is meant to pour homage unto God. And one of my teachers talked about how overpopulation means no one's graduating. People are so immersed in material society that they keep coming back, and the industrial civilization allows like this great expansion without any regard to the needs of the earth. And then a great cataclysm, some massive, economic upheaval, drought, famine, plague. I mean, we're trying to avert the laws of nature and the laws of karma and just set up irrigation and chemical fertilizers and chemical insecticides, so we can grow massive amounts of crops and eat them. There were great thinkers, scientists, educated people guessing about when we were going to run out of room to grow food and farm out the soil. And the farmable soil in America was going out, and they thought we were going to run out and be overpopulated, early 1900s. And it was right, but then the Industrial Revolution came along and changed the whole makeup, and we've just been sucking the earth dry and now polluting the oceans with crude oil. So the question is,
once an animal's killed for food or any other purpose, what then does it move to?
The soul in that animal is a soul just like you and me, and it does what's called transmigration. It says in the Gita that on what the mind dwells at the moment of death, you attain to that state when you take your next breath. Humans can go back down into animal species, but before they do that, their subtle body, which carries the soul to the next life, your physical body quits, your subtle body takes the soul to the next life. Your subtle body has to be dulled back down to fit inside of an animal body. Take someone like Adolf Hitler. He had so much bad karma, he doesn't deserve to be in a human for millions of births again. He's got to go start down as a cockroach. But here he is, he was a human, and he had a subtle body, and he caused so much suffering. He has to suffer every suffering that he gave every person. People who eat meat actually have to suffer for as many years they took off the animal's body, except for cows. It says for as many hairs that are on the cow's body, you have to suffer. And in the Bible it says that he who kill an ox sin as if he killeth a man. And in the Bible it talks about at the beginning, God gave us for food, gave us all vegetarian diet. It says it in a different way, but I took the strictest Baptist minister I could find and asked him, did this mean it was vegetarian? And he said, yeah. So the prescribed, but then, to make up for all of our shortcomings, we we make up our own philosophy and we kill animals and eat them anyway. And so God says, okay, if you got to kill animals, like in the Islamic tradition, don't eat pig, or in Hindu, don't eat any meat, especially cow. It's a very refined philosophy, so they're pretty high up there. But so say a chicken was going to live naturally 7 years, and you kill it at 2 years old. Then you've got 5 years of that animal's life on your karma. You get this big backpack. By having a spiritual teacher and taking spiritual initiation and taking vows, when we do that, all the karma is relieved off of our back. The spiritual master, or the teacher, so to speak, is a representative or sort of an emissary of Great Spirit, because they have to study the scripture and very seriously for many years take instruction. An external source that you trust is really important in this process. It's like an accountability partner to God. There's the 3 generations we talk about, the newbies, the middleders, and the elders. There's 3 kinds of gurus, and one's the kind that anyone who introduces someone to the path, that's the first kind of guru. And then one who's really good at giving instruction, that's the second kind, the shiksha. And the third one is someone who gives initiation. Everyone is meant to be the first kind of guru. Introduce others to the path, give a flyer out, talk, let the ego down that much to say, I'm going to go outside of myself. Because the knowledge and that we're sharing is simply, it's not, I repeat things that's not of me. Everything I share is thousands of years old, and I'm just putting myself and my voice through this process of repeating it and not adulterating it. Trying to have pure intentions, which is the humble, happy, helpful, and honest, and pure behavior. The point is that a little child can be our guru. At any moment, something can teach us. A shaman can look into a leaf and read volumes, because their eyes are adjusted to see God in everything, and then especially in nature. But all the voices that we hear, God coming through, if we're lucky, it sums up, we meet somebody who's very, very special to us, that is a teacher, a spiritual teacher, and that they kind of represent all the voices. And sometimes we meet them early on and don't realize it till later, and sometimes we hear a bunch of people, we just don't feel like we've made that connection with a teacher, and then we finally meet someone that like sums up all the voices we've heard. Because subtle purification is really hard. I mean, we can like rectify our behavior, study scripture, practice meditation every day. We can do a lot of things. And what it's really about is, how can I serve God right in this moment? And if we don't know, if we're in that dark stage we were talking about before, we don't know, we go to someone who does know. Don't try to see God, but act in a way that God will want to see you. So a ton of mercy comes to that person who stays focused on their inspiration. Our own closed mind, sometimes we just limit our own spiritual advancement. And we want what Native Americans call eagle medicine. We want to always be open-minded, seeking the highest truth. If we're studying Buddhism, and there was a time when Buddhism was on the way out and Taoism was on the way in. We might get something more out of Taoism if we've been Buddhist for a long time and we feel like we're not making enough advancement. Maharishi, he had like some top followers, and they're like, we've been doing everything for years, what you've said, and we still feel like there's something more. And he was very honest. He said, I'm going to send you to another Swami. He sent him to the Hare Krishna Prabhupada Swami. He can tell you the highest, which is the bhakti yoga, the yoga where you engage your heart in love.